The purpose of this video is to discuss multiple disabilities that a teacher might see within their classroom and provide an example of an accommodation for that specific disability.
Auditory processing disorder adversely affects how sound travels unhindered through the ear. It is processed and interpreted by the brain. A prime example of providing an accommodation for this is show instead of explain and using the whiteboard.
Dyscalculia affects a person's ability to understand numbers and learn math facts. An example of providing an accommodation for this is
Dysgraphia affects a person's handwriting ability and fine motor skills. A prime example of providing an accommodation for this is the use of word processor.
Good job.
dyslexia. Dyslexia affects reading and related language-based processing skills. An example of providing an accommodation for this is to use books on tape, such as an audiobook.
Language processing disorder affects attaching meaning to groups of sounds that form words, sentences, and stories. A prime example of providing an accommodation for this is writing the main concepts on the board.
Okay, class, so the topic is World War II, and I want you to
Visual perceptual and visual motor deficit affects the understanding of information that a person sees or the ability to draw or copy. A prime example of providing an accommodation for this is to use large print books.
affects focus, attention, and behavior, and can make learning challenging for students. An example of providing an accommodation to students is the use of manipulatives.
Nonverbal learning disabilities have trouble interpreting nonverbal cues like facial expressions or body language and may have poor coordination. A prime example of providing an accommodation for this is explaining metaphors in depth.
So with this metaphor, the classroom was a zoo. We know that the classroom isn't actually a zoo, but it may have characteristics that make us think of a zoo, such as students out of control. Dyspraxia involves problems with movement and coordination, language, and speech. A prime example of providing an accommodation for this is to whisper when working one-on-one with a child.
A perfect way to incorporate students with exceptionalities within your classroom is using differentiated instruction all of the time. Students vary in culture, socioeconomic status, language, gender, motivation, ability, disability, personal interest, and more. Teachers must be aware of these varieties as they plan their curriculum. By considering varied learning needs, teachers can develop personalized instruction so that all children in their classroom can learn effectively. Differentiated instruction is a sure way to make sure that each and every student is successful.